New Year's Eve, 1799. Inside the council chamber in Dublin, a proclamation is issued, one that speaks of violence, betrayal, and murder. The order comes from Lord Cornwallis, the Lord Lieutenant of Ireland, a man already known to history. Nearly 2 decades earlier, his surrender at Yorktown in 1781 helped bring the American War of Independence to its decisive end. Now, in Ireland, Cornwallis confronts another crisis. The proclamation follows the inquest into the brutal killing of a man named James Love. Love was murdered in the rural district of Kildowney in County Antrim in the northeast of Ireland. Responsibility for the crime is laid at the feet of one man, Thomas Archer. But Archer did not act alone. According to reports in the newspapers of the time, he led a band of around 10 men described as chiefly deserters from the local yeomanry, Ireland's militia, armed, organized, and now accused of murder. The proclamation delivers a stark warning. Anyone who, within 6 calendar months, can reveal the identities of those responsible, leading to their capture and conviction, will receive a reward, £100 for each of the first 3 men proven to be involved, a fortune for the time. But the proclamation goes further. For those who took part in the crime except the man who struck the fatal blow, there is another offer. Come forward, reveal the truth, and in return, not only the reward, but His Majesty's most gracious pardon. January the 13th, 1800. In the rural district of Rasharkin, County Antrim, fear spreads quickly through the countryside. 14 houses belonging to members of the Rasharkin Yeomanry Infantry are raided, their weapons stolen in the night. The attackers are described in the newspapers as a gang of villains. At their head, a man already feared across the district, the notorious Thomas Archer. Alongside him is another figure, a man known only as Dunn. Together they lead a band that does not hesitate to kill, yet their crimes seem to follow a chilling pattern. Their depredations are almost entirely focused on the seizure of arms. Their targets are not random. Instead, they pursue those accused of abandoning what they call the good cause of rebellion. Men who, during the uprising of 1798, had chosen to side with the English crown. For those who fall into Archer's hands, mercy is rarely offered. One account delivers a stark warning. Woe to the man who comes under these descriptions and is unfortunate enough to fall into their hands. Victims are often given only 5 minutes to prepare themselves. And then, the gang deliberately blows out their brains. Archer himself is said to show remarkable audacity. In broad daylight, he reportedly stands alone on the road, armed with 2 large pistols, stopping travelers returning from market. He searches their faces and their names, looking for anyone who might appear on his prescribed list. Resistance can be fatal. At least 1 or 2 members of the Rasharkin and Finvoy Yeomanry are said to have lost their lives while trying to prevent their weapons from being taken. Authorities call upon the country people to help capture the gang. But Archer and his followers know the landscape well. They are said to skulk through the mountains and the waste grounds, hiding in ingenious refuges, barrels sunk into the earth, lightly covered, where they can disappear when the search parties close in. Now, in the depths of winter, those hiding places may prove harder to reach. So the government responds. Yeomanry units across the lower parts of the country are placed on permanent duty. Their mission is simple: find Archer, capture the gang, and bring an end to the violence. But for these men, there will be no mercy. As deserters and armed rebels, they are guilty of treason and excluded from any government amnesty. By early February 1800, the search for Archer's gang begins to close in. A letter published in the Belfast Newsletter reports the arrest of a man named McCorley from the neighborhood of Randallstown. He is described as a man of some property and a member of the Toom Yeomanry. Authorities suspect him of a dangerous crime, harboring members of Archer's gang, but newspapers of the time are notorious for misspelling names. Historians now believe the prisoner was in fact Roger, or Roddy McCorley, a Catholic and a man whose fate would soon become legend. On the 20th of February, 1800, McCorley is brought before a court-martial in Ballymena. The verdict is swift: guilty. His sentence: death. 8 days later, on the 28th of February, Roddy McCorley is led to the gallows. He is hanged near the old bridge of Toom, where the River Bann forms the boundary between County Antrim and County Derry. His execution sends a chilling message across the countryside. But the violence does not end there. Around the same time, another raid is attempted. This time, the target is the home of Reverend Russell and his son at Armoy, near Ballymoney. The attackers arrive searching for arms, but the Russells manage to flee, escaping to the nearby house of a yeoman named Mr. Clerk. Inside the house that evening is an important visitor, Captain Boyd of Ballycastle. When Boyd returns to the Russell home, he finds the intruders still there. At the front door of the dwelling, he confronts one of the men, described simply as a villain. The captain fires. The shot may have struck its mark. The wounded man staggers inside before escaping with the rest of the gang, who had been rummaging through the house in search of weapons. The fugitives vanish into the night, but they leave a trail behind them, blood marking their escape. For nearly 3 miles along the road from Ballycastle to Clough, despite the pursuit, the robbers manage to get away. Their reward is small, just a single pistol, but they leave something behind, a scabbard and belt, believed to belong to the Dunluce cavalry. Meanwhile, authorities circulate a detailed description of the man believed to be the ringleader, Thomas Archer, a deserter from the Antrim militia, about 5 feet 6 inches tall, dark complexion, black hair, gray eyes, smooth-faced and rather slender. By trade, a shoemaker. He has a long chin and the faint marks of smallpox across his face. And for information leading to his capture, the reward still stands, £100. Just 3 days after Archer's description appears in the newspapers, the hunt finally reaches its end. The man described as the chief of the gang of villains and murderers is captured. Thomas Archer is taken into custody. Under guard, he is escorted from the guardhouse at Ballymena. His destination lies only a short distance away, a place known as the Moat. There, the sentence is carried out. Archer is executed, but death alone is not considered enough. His body is placed in chains and hung upon a high gallows erected at the site. The grim display is intended as a warning, a stark message to the countryside meant to deter others from following the same violent path. By this time, the terror that had haunted the district is already beginning to fade. 7 members of the band, men who had long made the peaceable inhabitants of a wide region tremble, have now perished. The gang that once stalked the roads, raided homes, and hunted its enemies is finally broken. Yet the memory of those months of fear would linger in the hills and villages of Antrim for years to come.